Welcome to the heart of East Africa, to a land Winston Churchill famously called the Pearl of Africa. This is the story of Uganda, a nation whose history is as rich and complex as the vibrant landscapes it encompasses. It's a tale of ancient kingdoms, colonial struggles, and a resilient people forging a modern identity. So, let's journey through time and uncover the complete history of Uganda. Long before borders were drawn on maps, Uganda was a cradle of diverse cultures. The earliest inhabitants were hunter-gatherers, but around 1000 BCE, a significant shift occurred. Bantu-speaking people migrated from Central Africa, bringing with them advanced skills in ironworking and agriculture. These innovations didn't just change how people lived, they laid the groundwork for organized societies and powerful states. Among these emerging powers, the Kingdom of Buganda rose to prominence. By the 14th century, Buganda had developed a sophisticated, centralized monarchy led by a king, the Kabaka. His authority radiated across much of what is now southern Uganda, creating a stable and prosperous society. But Buganda wasn't alone. Other powerful kingdoms like Bunyoro, Toro, Ankole, and Busoga also flourished, each with its unique system of governance, trade networks, and rich cultural traditions that have echoed through the centuries. By the 16th century, Buganda had solidified its position as a major regional force. Its political structure was remarkably organized, with a hierarchy of chiefs and councils managing affairs with precision. The kingdom was a hub of trade, exchanging agricultural goods, ivory, and iron tools with its neighbors. To the northwest, the Kingdom of Bunyoro was a formidable rival, competing for influence and resources. These pre-colonial states were not just early examples of African governance. They were centers of vibrant culture, where language, art, and oral history thrived, traditions that continue to define Uganda today. The 19th century brought a new wave of influence with the arrival of Arab traders from Zanzibar. They introduced Islam and dramatically expanded trade routes, bringing goods like cloth, beads, and firearms, in exchange for ivory, and tragically, slaves. This trade brought immense wealth to some kingdoms, but also sowed seeds of conflict and instability, forever altering the social fabric of the region. Following the traders came the explorers and missionaries from Europe in the mid-1800s. Men like John Hanning Speke and Samuel Baker ventured into the interior, driven by the quest to find the source of the legendary Nile River. Close behind them were Christian missionaries, primarily from Britain, who brought with them their faith and Western education. Their arrival created a complex dynamic of opportunity and tension, as Christianity competed with both Islam and traditional beliefs. This new faith would go on to have a profound and lasting impact on Ugandan culture, education, and politics. As the 19th century drew to a close, the scramble for Africa was in full swing, and Uganda did not escape the grasp of European imperialism. In 1894, it was officially declared a British protectorate. The British implemented a strategy of indirect rule, governing through existing local leaders, most notably the Kabaka of Buganda. While this approach maintained a semblance of stability, it also amplified existing ethnic divisions and created new ones. The colonial administration reoriented the economy around cash crops like cotton and coffee, integrating Uganda into the global market, but often at the expense of local labor and food security. Under British rule, Western education and Christianity spread like wildfire. Mission schools became the training grounds for a new educated elite, the very individuals who would later spearhead the movement for independence. However, colonial policies often favored the Buganda kingdom over other regions, creating deep-seated ethnic imbalances that would haunt the nation for decades to come. By the 1940s and 50s, the winds of change were blowing across the continent. A wave of nationalism swept through Africa, and Uganda was ready to claim its destiny. Political movements began to form, uniting people under a common call for freedom and self-determination. In 1962, that dream became a reality. Uganda gained independence from Britain, and Milton Obote became the nation's first prime minister. The air was thick with optimism. The new government was a delicate hybrid, attempting to balance modern democratic ideals with the power of the traditional kingdoms. But this balance was fragile. Tensions between Obote's central government and the influential Buganda kingdom quickly escalated. In 1966, in a move that would set the stage for decades of turmoil, Obote suspended the constitution, abolished the kingdoms, and declared himself president. The era of political instability had begun. 5 years later, in 1971, the nation was plunged into one of its darkest chapters. General Idi Amin, a charismatic but brutal military commander, seized power in a coup. His 8-year reign was a nightmare of violence, economic collapse, and unimaginable human rights abuses. Amin expelled the country's Asian population, who were the backbone of the economy, and nationalized their businesses. He ruthlessly eliminated anyone perceived as a threat. It's estimated that over 300,000 Ugandans lost their lives during his dictatorship. His erratic and tyrannical leadership left the economy in ruins and made Uganda an international pariah. In 1979, a combined force of Tanzanian troops and Ugandan exiles finally overthrew Amin's regime. But his fall did not bring immediate peace. Uganda descended into a chaotic period of short-lived governments. Elections in 1980 controversially returned Milton Obote to power, but his second term was marred by accusations of corruption and further brutality. This sparked a new conflict, a protracted guerrilla war led by a determined rebel leader named Yoweri Museveni and his National Resistance Army. After years of brutal fighting, Museveni's forces captured the capital, Kampala, in 1986, heralding the start of a new era. Under President Museveni, Uganda finally found a degree of stability and began the long road to economic recovery. His government invested in education, healthcare, and agricultural reforms. By the 1990s, Uganda was being hailed as an African success story, with one of the continent's fastest-growing economies. But significant challenges remained. Corruption was rampant, political freedoms were limited, and a devastating conflict raged in the north, where the Lord's Resistance Army, led by the infamous Joseph Kony, terrorized communities and abducted thousands of children. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, Uganda continued its path of modernization, navigating the complex interplay between traditional values and the pressures of a globalized world. The nation took on a new role as a regional peacekeeper, contributing troops to missions in Somalia and South Sudan. The capital, Kampala, transformed into a bustling modern metropolis. Yet, political tensions simmered. Museveni, in power since 1986, amended the constitution to extend his rule, sparking heated debates about the future of democracy and leadership in the country. Today, Uganda is a nation defined by its youth and vibrancy, a mosaic of over 40 distinct ethnic groups, each contributing to a rich tapestry of languages, music, and traditions. The country still grapples with persistent challenges like poverty, corruption, and social inequality, but the spirit of its people remains unbroken. The journey of Uganda, from the majesty of its ancient kingdoms and the trials of colonialism through the darkness of dictatorship to the promise of its future, is a powerful testament to resilience, unity, and the enduring quest for a better tomorrow. This story, unfolding in the very heart of Africa, is far from over. Thank you so much for joining us on this historical journey. If you found this story compelling, please give this video a like. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the fascinating history of our world. We'll see you in the next one.